Do you think Blizzard's going to add another auction house mount in Shadowlands? No. No. I've been thinking about this a little bit. Not necessarily just about the auction house mount, but how Blizzard, I feel, are going to handle rewards in the game generally. It would not surprise me if Blizzard becomes one of the pioneers in implementing NFTs to the game. It would not surprise me if in the next expansion we see some, or at least we start to see the first integration of NFTs. Because I know I know a lot of people will be like, well, what's that got to do with the auction house mount? But let me put it to you this way. Imagine that BlizzCoin. Yeah. Imagine that Blizzard released a new auction house mount similar to that of the Longboy, but they released the mount as an NFT. They release, I don't know, pick a number, 10,000 of them. There can only ever be 10,000 of them, but they can be freely traded between accounts. Those things would make Blizzard a lot of money. There's no question about it. Didn't Square Enix do this? Saw an article of them talking about it, but didn't read it. I'm not sure. Ubisoft did something not so long ago. NFT is a proof that you own a shitty painting somebody did. Most people's impressions of what an NFT is jaded by the fact that, yes, there are some dumb level things going on with them currently, because it's still super duper mega early days. I mean, maybe I should have given a bit of an overview to what an NFT is to begin with. Stands for non-fungible token. Basically, consider it like a ledger for a digital item. Well, everybody's aware of like mounts in the game. Say, for example, there's a mount that you can acquire in the game. That mount could become an NFT, and built into the digital code of that mount is a ledger of who owns them, when they were transferred, this sort of thing. That ledger is managed on the blockchain, so it's managed in a fashion that is not owned by anybody, and it is near enough impossible for it to be tampered with. One of the big problems with digital items is that copy paste exists. Control C, Control V. Now you've turned one thing into two. At the NFT system, one of its big advantages is that it can lock down a limited quantity of a digital item. Sure, in terms of, GIFs or pictures of funny looking monkeys, sure, you can copy and paste it, but the NFT is the transactional record of who actually owns those items. The Mona Lisa is an example that's given very frequently. Yeah, you're right. So like the Mona Lisa, the original version of that painting would be the NFT, because it's the non-fungible item. It's literally one of a kind. There's only one of it. Sure, you can take a photo of the Mona Lisa and you have something that's virtually identical, but it's not the original. And what the NFT does is it keeps a transactional log of all of these things to prove which ones are originals and which ones are copies. Yeah. So you imagine, I'm going to use the example of a Longboy. If they re-released Longboy 2.0 as an NFT, what would that mean and how would it work? Well, they could release a limited quantity of them, for starters. That limited quantity of them would generate scarcity. Within the NFT of that item, Blizzard could receive a kickback off every transaction of that NFT. So say, for example, they make 10,000 Longboys. They allow 10,000 accounts to have one, but allow them to be freely traded. Every time one is traded from one party to another, 10% of that transaction, or whatever percentage Blizzard deems greedy, they could take a kickback of every time one of those is transferred from A to B. The scarcity of them would, dictate the value of them. Look at the Spectral Tiger mount, for example. Spectral Tiger mounts are outrageously expensive now. Why? They're cool. Why? They're rare. Blizzard, I think, are probably going to be one of the companies to pioneer this at a big scale. Because they're no stranger to this, this conundrum, this problem of how do they sell things and get a kickback from it? How do they make more money? We had the TCG trading card game was a physical way of linking, taking physical products and linking them to digital products. We saw the Diablo 3 real money auction house, which was a super early way for Blizzard to try and make money off rare digital items. We now have the token, which is in the same league, but it's not exactly the same. I can't see why Blizzard wouldn't do it. Now, the question becomes, is it good for the game? Can't Blizzard release a mount with certain limit anyway? Why would it require the NFT technology? The reason they would implement or utilize the NFT system on something like that is because it allows them to be freely traded and for Blizzard to profit off every transaction, off every trade. If Blizzard release, they kind of already do it in terms of the mythic raid mounts are only available for whilst that mythic are sometimes only available for whilst that mythic boss is the current boss. Then they go away, or then they go into the black market auction house. So there's a limiting factor there, not on how many of them are about. But what Blizzard would want to do is they not only would want to make something rare, they would want to make it tradable, and they would also like to make money off every single time one is traded. That's where the NFT system comes in place. That Blizzard could get a kickback through every trade of one of these items. Now, like I said, I don't think they wouldn't start off by just everything becomes an NFT, but they would test the waters with a mount or two, either in the store or as an in-game reward. Look at the leaderboard, for example. The leaderboards for raiders. They could make it so that only the first 10,000 people to kill a boss get the mount. Not only does that drive a huge desire for people to be one of those first 10,000, it means once those 10,000 rewards, let's assume it's a mount for the purpose of World of Warcraft, let's assume that once those 10,000 awards are in circulation, that they can then be traded to other players, and Blizzard receives a kickback from every time one is traded. There's a whole industry there. And it's the NFT system which facilitates this trading of them. All I want to do is craft furniture, praying for player housing to be implemented. Can you imagine the opportunities for player housing, crafted furniture with the NFT system? You could have an entire marketplace of different bits of furniture for your player housing, and every single time a transaction is made, Blizzard are making money off it. And look at it from the perspective, right? What if you have, let's say you buy a sofa for your player housing, and that sofa on it says made by Asmongold. That sofa, somebody will pay stupid money for it. Why? Because it says made by Asmongold. People actually asked him in game to craft certain rare items so that it would have his name on it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Paintings go up in price sometimes where they're hanged in by who owns them. A mount that was earned by Ginji during SOD would be worth more than a random person's. That's a good example. Yeah. If a really high ranking mythic raider, really popular community figure, earns a mount or something in game, then they could sell their specific version of it to somebody else. And there'd be that transactional log of if that then person that bought it from Ginji wants to trade it to somebody else, then there's a history built into it that says, yes, this is the original one. And so you can determine value based on that. And where you can determine value to something, there's money to be made. And that's why Blizzard will be looking at it incredibly closely. Because guess what? Activision loves money. Asmongold's mail muncher would be valuable? It would, yes. I mean, it's the same theory in real life with real things, but it's a way to implement it in the digital world. A Gucci handbag is quite valuable to begin with. A Gucci handbag that was Beyonce's is more valuable. You know, it could be the same sort of thing in the digital age. But I didn't mean to quite go down this rabbit hole as far as we did, but it was just something that I've been thinking about. And knowing Blizzard and knowing Activision and the fact that they are not strangers to this in the first place, that the trading card game was, you know, NFTs before NFTs were a thing. Their attempt at the Diablo 3 real money auction house goes to show that they are willing to take risks like this if it can profit them. You know, they are primed more than anybody else out there to take advantage of this. Yeah, I mean, the reason that I think the gaming industry would really, really drive forward with these is nothing incentivizes people to play a video game more than the opportunity to make money out of it. Can you imagine that the scenario would be all of the Raiders and Echo, or these world first guilds, Echo, Limit, Methods, Big Dumb Guild, whoever it be, all of these world first guilds, for the moment, find it incredibly difficult to get any sort of monetary kickback from what they do in the video games. If the carrot at the end of the stick is that they have a better than, you know, their world first guilds, they will almost guarantee themselves every tier amount from the most difficult boss, which will then be worth something, like physically real money worth something. There will be a limited quantity of them. They can either choose to keep them themselves, they can trade them to others that want them and are willing to pay for them. I mean, not only does it make it a good situation for those players that are already there, it has a massive drive for others to compete and to do it and to play it and to access that sort of stuff. There's huge benefits for the game, like actual true benefits. Talking about the actual pros rather than just the cons all the time. There's huge potential benefits to this. I don't know exactly how they would do it, but I would be amazed if they're not at least thinking about it.